Well, good evening, everyone. I'm so excited to see so many people on our Healthy Heart Talk. This is definitely a passion for me, and we're going to cover a lot of information tonight. We're going to give you a little background about, exactly what, these different heart conditions are, what you can do to help yourself through diet and nutrition, and also what we can do to support our bodies with good whole foods quality supplements. So to tell you a little bit about myself, I was actually introduced to Neolife over 29 years ago. And I got started because of my son. He had a lot of respiratory issues. And I had been trying all sorts of different products, got no results. And a coworker of my husband's introduced us and it changed his life. And just to clarify tonight, what we're talking about does not diagnose, treat, or cure any disease, but it's amazing what the body can do when it has the right support. And my personal passion is heart health because my dad was only 39 years old when he had his first triple bypass. So I watched what people go through when they're dealing with heart issues, and it really interferes so much with your lifestyle. So it's great if we can do some stuff to help prevent these issues. So when you look at heart disease, it is the #1 killer, unfortunately. But the good news is 80% is preventable by lifestyle change. So what actually is heart disease? Well, basically it's the blood supply to the heart is reduced or cut off. So that's caused by blockages or different things. So who's at risk? Well, there's a lot of risk factors that are related to lifestyle. Things like smoking, lack of physical activity, stress, being overweight. And as I mentioned, the good news is heart disease is definitely preventable. You can definitely cut your risks, especially if you cut out those high risk factors. And what other things, when you look at nutrition, is related? Well, too much of the bad stuff, especially even now, I see so much of the hydrogenated oils in our foods, even things like natural organic yogurt. You would think, why would they put hydrogenated oils in? But they do. Industrialized fats, refined sugar. I know when I took my holistic nutrition course, it was white flour, white sugar, white salt, white death, right? That's totally how it's linked. And junk food, of course. And we don't get enough of the good stuff, like those good quality omega-3 fatty acids, all natural fibers, and fruits and vegetables. So what are some of the diet-related indicators of heart disease? Well, high triglycerides, when you go for your blood test, your doctor often tests for that. Elevated homocysteine, and that's not a common test that doctors do, but you can absolutely ask for it. High cholesterol, oxidative stress, and being overweight and obese actually increase your risk. So let's look a little bit at the circulatory system. It's hard to believe, but our heart beats 100,000 times and pumps 2,000 gallons of blood through 60,000 miles of blood vessels. You think that's quite the job. And we have 200 billion red blood cells are synthesized in the bone marrow. So our circulatory system is pretty impressive. And so what's high cholesterol? Well, that's elevated levels of cholesterol, which can cause that buildup of the atherosclerosis and other vascular issues. And you can see there's sort of a artery there, and you can see that yellow stuff. That's all the buildup of that cholesterol. And as you can see, some of the diet things that are one of the factors that can help contribute to that. And so how does this happen? Well, when you see the inside of the artery, it'll get a little bit of damaged because normally it's a smooth muscle cell. And so you start to get, the body says, oh, there's damage there, so I want to try and repair it. So that's what cholesterol does. It comes in and it creates this fatty streak and it gets inside the muscle cell. And then it turns into a fibrous plaque, right? And then when it gets bigger and bigger, like, because of course, if you're eating more fatty foods or you have the bad fats in the bloodstream, it actually creates this large plaque and it obstructs the artery. And that's actually what a heart attack is, right? So when we look at cholesterol, there's two different types. There's the high density lipoproteins, which you see on your blood test, which is called HDL. And that's the carrier of the good cholesterol. So it takes cholesterol from the tissues to the liver so we can flush it out of the body. That's why we want our HDL levels higher. The low LDL is the low density lipoproteins. And it's the bad cholesterol that forms plaque and blocks arteries. Although we do need some of it for hormones and stuff. But again, like the body, it likes balance, right? Everything should be in proper balance. So what's the medical route for repairing these blocked arteries? Well, like my dad had coronary bypass surgery, open heart surgery, and they do a lot now of that balloon angioplasty. But the problem with all of these, if you don't change your lifestyle, you're going to be going in. Like I know my dad had to go for a second one, I guess about 15 years later. So it's not something you definitely want to be going in for all the time. So how do you detect high blood pressure and heart disease? Well, oftentimes there's pain in the chest that radiates to the shoulders or arms. It's usually on the left side or to the neck, back, or jaw. Women have a little bit different symptoms. This is kind of the standard ones I'm talking about. A lot of people get pressure or burning sensation in the chest, so they kind of think they have heartburn. It can be shortness of breath, nausea, dizziness or fainting, indigestion that's not relieved with antacids, fatigue, and excessive sweating. And stress brings a lot of this stuff on. Where strokes are a little bit different. They're an interruption of blood flow to the areas of the brain. And a stroke can cause paralysis. It can be temporary or permanent, and also kidney damage. So that's why we definitely, want to try and prevent that. There's actually 4 kinds of strokes. 2 are caused by rupture and hemorrhage of the arteries, and 2 are caused by clots that block the blood flow. So what are some of the stroke warning signs? You can get sudden weakness or numbness of the face, arm, or leg on one side of the body, sudden dimness or loss of vision, especially if you get it all of a sudden in one eye, loss of speech. You often see people will start slurring their words or having trouble talking, a sudden severe headache that comes out of the blue with sort of no cause, or if all of a sudden you're unsteady, dizzy, sudden falls. These can be some of the warning signs of stroke. So it's always a good idea to get checked. Not necessarily that always is a stroke, but you definitely don't want to wait, because the earlier you get in for treatment, the better it is, because they can give you something to clear it out. So what are some of the risk factors for strokes? Well, as you get older, of course, males are more prone to it. Race can have an impact. Diabetes, of course, because diabetes is that sugar is oxidative, damages those blood vessels. If you've had a stroke before, hereditary can be a factor, and that artery in the neck. A lot of times you'll get that checked, the carotid artery, and if it's blocked, then it can increase your risk for stroke, because of course that's closer to the brain. So let's talk a little bit about stress. In 1981, type A behavior was officially recognized by medical experts as a heart disease risk factor. And we all know people with those type A personalities, right? So what are some of the traits? Well, the traits of people that are type A. Well, they get very irritated or impatient. I think a lot of those drivers out there, those road rage people, I'm sure they're type A. They're always constantly feeling pressed for time. Everything has to be done on time. They'll actually interrupt people when they're speaking. They won't let them finish their sentence. They try to show others how to do things correctly. They always have to win when they play a game, and they never relax. My brother's classic, He's a classic type A behavior. And so let's talk a little bit about the prevention of hypertension and heart disease. Well, of course, we want to cut those bad fats out of our diet. We want good fats, things like olive oil and omega-3s. Put away that salt shaker, especially with hypertension. Avoid canned and processed foods. A lot of restaurant foods are very, very high in sodium. We want to lower our cholesterol, of course. No smoking or alcohol. Exercise, so important, because the circulatory system depends on it, right? You want to keep blood sugar in the zone. If your blood sugar is all over the place, it actually increases your risk. Keep your stress in check. So you might have to do some methods to help that. And of course, good quality nutritional supplementation. So when you look at what a lot of the organizations like the World Health Organization, what are they saying we need to do? We need more fruits, vegetables, nuts, and whole grains. And that was actually verified in that Lancet study that we talk a lot about. More omega-3 fatty acids from fish or plant sources and maintain a healthy weight. And that's the whole philosophy with Neolife. Like, we want to put these things that are missing from our diet back in. So Nada, do you want to share with us the sort of 3 keys to optimal health that are so important? Nada, you're muted. We can't hear you. No. Do you want me to keep going till you figure it out? Okay. So the 3 keys to optimal health are weight management, physical activity, and a good quality diet. Can you change the slide? And water is so, so important. You think about most of our brain, our blood, everything depends on water. So it is so important to drink good quality filtered water every single day. And in 2019, I was so excited that they finally upgraded the Canadian Food Guide. And as you can see, half of our plate should be those good quality fruits and vegetables. We want to eat a quarter of our plate good quality protein, and a quarter should be whole grain foods. And of course, make water your drink of choice. So that's sort of what your plate should look like when you're eating, to give you guys sort of a guideline. I still can't hear you, Nada. Is your speaker undone? So diet. This is a really good quote from the US Surgeon General, and it is, "You are what you eat," and the reality is 75% of all chronic diseases are preventable. So that's a very positive statement. No. And good nutrition can lower the risk for many chronic diseases, including heart disease, stroke, some cancers, diabetes, and even osteoporosis. And that was a quote from the Center for Disease Control. Maybe go out and come back in, Nada. And what we aren't eating is killing us, a global study finds, right? So this was the Lancet study I was referring to, because what they're actually finding, it's not, of course, we have to be aware of what we are eating, but it's the missing nutrients that are so, so important. And what are we lacking? Exactly what they were saying, that we need to prevent heart disease: low whole grains, low fruit, low nuts and seeds, low omega-3s, and low vegetables. And when you look at what they're doing to our grains, the grains are not the way they used to be. They used to grind the wheat, they used to make the flour, they used to make the bread, and it went bad in a day. It was heavy and dense, not like fluffy and, you know, the way our foods are today. And even if you make your own breads, if you're buying flour with processed grains, it still does not have the critical nutrients that are so, so important for our health. Can you change the slide, Nana? Yep. And if you look at the refining of our grains, it's kind of referred to as the great grain robbery, right? Milling removes all the fiber, so that outer bran layer is taken away from that wheat, all the precious oils, 22 important nutrients, and what are we left with? Starch and white flour. And you hear so many people are gluten intolerant. Well, that's all that's in the product now. It's so high in gluten. It's not the way it used to be when it was full grain. Can you change the slide, Nana? But when you look at how we fill this gap, there is so many products out there. And there's, like, researchers found, they actually did some studies, because a lot of people say to me, well, if something's in a store, it must be safe. Well, from 2007 to 2016, they actually checked 776 products that were marked as dietary supplements. And what did they find? hidden active ingredients that were unsafe or unstudied. And even the University of Guelph went and studied all sorts of products in health food stores and drugstores, and none of them met their label claims. So there's lots of problems out there in the supplementation industry. So that is why you have to really, really trust who you're dealing with. Can you change the slide, Netta? And, you know, when I was introduced to Neolife 29 years ago, the thing that impressed me, the fact that it had been around since 1958, I remember asking the girl who introduced me, I said, what makes this different? She said, all I know is it's been around since 1958 and I'm not sick and tired anymore and it's made from whole foods. But you think about it, there's a lot more science behind it than just that. It was actually established in over 50 countries around the world. It's an industry pioneer in nutrition and the most respected nutrition research team. And when people ask me, well, what do I look for in a supplement? The first thing you want to find out is, what is this product made from? Just because it's natural, it can be anything from the ground. It can be petroleum, pine bark, coal tar. But what are we missing in our diet? We're not missing those things. We're missing whole grains, fruits and vegetables, and wild salmon. Is it working now, Nada? Oh, you're connecting again. And the reason that Neolife is a step above from, you know, from so many different countries is their scientific advisory board. They were the first company to have a scientific advisory board. The founder was Dr. Arthur First, one of the top toxicologists in the world. And when he did his research in cancer, he found nutrients in food prevent disease, not just cancer, but heart disease and many other diseases. And that's why he joined up with Neolife in the 1970s and set up our prestigious scientific advisory board of world-renowned scientists, researchers, and doctors. And they are not just figureheads, they're actually involved in the research and development of the products. You change the slide, Nada. And it's so important too to make sure that the products you're using have been actually published in peer-reviewed journals. They've actually studies that have been done on them, and you can see Neolife products have been published in many peer-reviewed journals and proven to actually work. Yeah. Is it working now, Nada? Can you talk? Somebody just came on. Can you mute them for me? And the key to fill the gaps is Neolife has a product called Pro Vitality. And it actually has 4 products in it. And you know those things they talk about, we're missing the grains, the fruits and vegetables, the omega-3s, that's what's in this product. And the big green capsule there is the Treonine grain concentrates. And that's those essential fatty acids, those phytolipids and sterols that are missing from our grains. They have less gluten than a bowl of gluten-free cereal. So a lot of people have concerns. They don't want to, they can't take grains, but they can take this is the oil from the grain, so it's different. And there was actually research in a hospital study on people with chronic fatigue. They tried giving vitamins, minerals, enzymes, no result until they put the oils back in the grains. And it helps promote that cellular energy and efficiency. Can you change it? And this is how Treonine works in the body. You think you're only as healthy as your cells. So every cell has a fatty membrane around it, and it's made up of those lipids and phytosterols. So if you don't have those granules in your diet, nutrition can't get in, waste can't get out. So your cells are stiff and inelastic, and they look like that cell on the left. And that's a tired cell, right? That's when disease starts, right? Where if you have those granules, your cell looks like on the right, absorb nutrients and eliminate waste. And the Treonine was actually studied at Texas A&M University, and it was proven to like, it's almost like you think about it, increase the absorption of your food by 50%. So you think about it, imagine if you're eating this great diet, wouldn't it be wonderful to absorb 50% more of it? And that's what happens when you take that Treonine grain concentrates. And then the next product is our carotenoid complex. And that's to fill the fruit and vegetable gap, because they're saying we should be having like 8 to 13 servings of fruits and vegetables a day. And they say really a minimum of 10. That's what the studies are coming out now. But it's really hard to eat all of those fruits and vegetables. So having one of those carotenoids, which is in that pack for an entire month, is like having 80 pounds of raw fruits and vegetables. You think like red bell peppers, peaches, apricots, strawberries, spinach, all the dark color ones. And the USDA and the Center for Disease Control actually proved that the product works. They found it boosted people's immune systems 37% in 20 days. This research was published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition and presented at the New York Academy of Sciences. So it's definitely, and I know myself, I had a friend at my gym. She was always, I wouldn't see her for weeks on end. She was always getting sick. So I introduced her to the carotenoids. She calls them her black bullets. She says, now I'm never sick because since she's been taking this product. And it basically protects our cells because our cells oxidase. It's like, you know, you get an apple and you cut it in half and it turns brown. That's the cells oxidizing. You put lemon juice on it, protects it. And that's the way fruits and vegetables protect our cells. Just like you're rusting from the inside out. It's like rust proofing your cells. It prevents the, you know, speeding up aging of the cells. And omega-3s, there is so much research. They're actually touted as the silent killer because of the link between inflammation. And as we know, inflammation is the trigger for heart disease because again, you're damaging those blood vessels. And the Neolife salmon oil is very different. There's a lot of omega-3s on the market today, but when I haven't found one yet that was clinically proven to reduce inflammation 68% and published in the American College of Nutrition. It's from Pure Atlantic cold pressed fish. They tested for over 200 contaminants with an allowability of 0, and it has all 8 omega-3s. When you eat a piece of fish, you get all 8. You don't just get 2, EPA and DHA. They're good aspects of the omega-3, but they work so much better when they're all together. And there's actually independent studies showing it also reduces triglycerides by 17%. And remember, I talked about how that's a big risk factor, and it was published in the Royal College of reduces inflammation 68% and published in the Royal College of Obstetricians and Gynecologists because it's so safe, and they were so impressed the fact it was so pure and so complete. And high triglycerides, a primary indicator of elevated cardiovascular disease. And it's a reflection of a diet too high in fat, and it can be a family trait. So there is a genetic component, a small genetic component. And so you can see the cholesterol increases in the bloodstream from our diet. And to reduce your triglycerides, you want to reduce the bad fats, you want to increase the good fats, the omega-3s. And the omega-3 salmon oil was proven to optimize the omega-3 to omega-6 balance. Omega-6 is more inflammatory, and we have so much of them in our diet. Should be probably about a 2-to-1 ratio, and it's of omega-6 to omega-3, and probably right now in our diets, it's like 30-to-1. It's really different. And then the last product in the little pack is our vitamin and mineral complex with 21 micronutrients to bridge that gap. And it also has phytoenzymes for easy digestion. So it's like a power pack. Can you change the slide, Anna? And now I'd like to ask Wen. She has a wonderful story. Wen, could you share your story for us? And unmute there.
Try that again. I certainly can. Thank you for asking, Mary Ellen. Hi, my name is Wen, and I am retired from nursing. I had a wonderful 50-year career as a nurse practitioner. I was first introduced to Neolife by my good friend, and I was in my mid-30s at that time. She told me a story about the solid science behind the products, and I found it very compelling. I was unaware that I had any health concerns in my mid-30s, but I did want to fill in the gaps in my nutrition. I had a wake up when I was in, it was less than 15 years later when I had blood work done and discovered that my cholesterol levels were very high. I was only perimenopausal at that time, but I was a little overweight and I was hypothyroid. Many of the people in my family have either heart disease or diabetes or both. And I did not want to join them. I did not want to take medication with potential side effects for the rest of my life. I just really didn't want to do that. But I have to say that I was lucky and I was smart. I had been to a couple of rallies. I don't know if I'd been to a convention yet because I wasn't doing the business, but I used to go to things like that with my friends because I wanted to be with them. So I found out that there was a heart health program. I thought of it and I got in touch with my good friend again, and we sort of looked at what it really entailed. I'm going to say what we are because we've talked about some of them already. So it was the Salmon Oil Plus, and something we haven't talked about yet, but might later, is the lipotropic adjunct, enteric coated garlic, and vitamin E. That was the heart health of the day. I later went on to include many other things, but CoQ10 and more recently the Upbeat have probably been the biggest things that we've added to it, but lots of little things too. So I was in a very fortunate position because I was a new nurse practitioner and very keen. I was working in a rural practice, and I had the ability to order my own blood work, and I could read my results. I had a wonderful group of nurses. We adored each other and they worked with me. They took my blood, and I decided I would do that. I would do a little clinical trial to see whether or not the heart health program was going to work for me. Little skeptic, I guess. But anyway, so I did a zero test again because it had been a few months, maybe even half a year by the time I decided to do this. In the meantime, I was exercising more, but I was a big exerciser. I was eating healthier, or trying to, but you know, it was just the time of my life when I was busy and I would eat what I could. But in any case, I did a zero baseline when I decided I was ready. I had my heart program materials and I was ready to go. So I did a zero, and lo and behold, exercise and eating as well as I could really hadn't changed things that greatly in 6 months. So at that point in time, doctors would have put me on a lipid lowering medication, like they're called the family of statins. But I had a very good relationship with my family doctor, who was like an hour and a half away. So I told him what I wanted to do. And he said, well, if you can make that work, then go ahead. You know, if you can get your blood taken and, you know, and you can write the order for yourself. And I could, because I was in a rural practice and there aren't that many doctors. So it was good. So my 1 month cholesterol profile was slightly lower, but I thought, well, it's probably just a placebo effect. By 3 months, my total cholesterol and my bad cholesterol had reduced, and I was pleasantly surprised. And by 6 months, they were absolutely normal, both my total cholesterol and my bad cholesterol. And my good cholesterol was quite high, which is a good thing in women, especially. I think Mary Ellen mentioned that it's the part that carries the cholesterol out of our bodies. And my triglycerides, which were never really high, got even lower, also an effect of the salmon oil. So I was pretty ecstatic because these last two changes, you can't get those with medication. When a statin lowers your bad cholesterol, it lowers your good cholesterol too. And they really don't work on triglycerides at all. So 25 years later, and lots of blood work done in between just to keep checking things, because I just marvel at it, really, that it's always been, my blood work's always been outstanding. And so I am aging well and really maintaining my good health. Thank you.
Thank you so much for sharing that, Wen. And you look amazing. And
Thank
You know, that's wonderful that you've taken charge of your health and aren't going through. And can we have Leonie share too, her story? Because Leonie, you had a good experience recently with the heart program.
Yes, I did. Thank you, Mary Ellen, for asking me. My name is Leonie, and I've been with Neolife. Whoops, hang on. Sorry. I've been with Neolife for about 15 years. I've been taking the products and just my family, all the different, just the different areas where my family needed some nutrition. But I specifically wanted to speak about my heart journey, my heart health, and just listening to this where we're talking about stress and you know, with the chest pains and you know that kind of thing just hit me again. And I just wanted to share, in the summer of 2020, I experienced some chest pains, and I went for a couple of stress tests. And you know, you do the what do you call those things? Well, the stress test anyway, the one on the treadmill. And although the results were normal, I continued having chest pain. So my cardiologist scheduled an angiogram and to see if I had any kind of blockages. And she said to me, okay, so if there's a blockage or all blockages, then we're going to go in there, we're going to put in a stent. I can't say I was too thrilled because I just don't like foreign stuff in my body. But, you know, your heart's your heart. That's the only ticker you have. So to prepare for the procedure, though, I started on Neolife's 30-day heart program. Now, because I was still waiting for a date to go on for the procedure, it took me up to day 50. However, I prepared myself and I spoke to Nada. She said, okay, this is what you take. It was like the vitamin E, the garlic, the lipo, like Wen was saying, the salmon oil, lecithin, and the carotenoid. So on day 50, I was done and I had my procedure and I did the angiogram. And as soon as it was over, the doctor said to me, you have a heart of a teenager. I go, you kidding me? And he goes, yep, there was no blockage. Now you have to understand that I'm not exactly a young person. I'm like in my 60s. And I thought, wow, you know, I was just ecstatic. And at this point in my life, one would expect, you know, some blockage. And I can safely say, and I'm so grateful that Neolife has kept my heart young. So I continue to do that to keep that ticker going. Thank you.
Thank you, Leonie. What a great story. Thank you so much for sharing.
You're
And
welcome.
yeah, I know other people who have done the heart program too, and they get really, really good results when they go. So that's wonderful. And when you look at heart health, we have to look at our kids, because you think about it, we want to start young. And I know with the treonine grain concentrates, one of the studies at Texas A&M University actually proved that it increases cardiovascular development. So you think how important that is for kids. So the Liquivite contains those grain oil concentrates. The salmon oil, of course, is wonderful for kids. It's also good for their brain, for keeping their joints healthy, especially so many kids are so active now in so many different sports. And then when they get a little older too, they can chew the VitaScores and VitaGuards. And my 4 granddaughters have been on these products since birth, and not one of them's ever been on antibiotics. They're all active, healthy, smart. Neolife kids are super smart kids too. I talk to my clients, some who've had a couple kids, and then they have one where they've been on the products, and the kids are on the products. I go, can't believe it. They're just so much smarter. So we want smart, healthy kids. So this is an easy program that you can give kids, and it works amazing. And also you want to add with this is the perfect breakfast for the whole family, our Neolife shake. It tastes so delicious. I've tasted a lot of shakes out there, and I tell you, there's nothing that tastes as good as our Neolife shake. And you can enjoy as a delicious breakfast, meal replacement, after a workout. You can use it so many different ways. And what's inside? Well, it's all natural. So important. But the key that makes it different than most of the other shakes is it's biologically complete, because it has all those 22 amino acids. So what does that mean? We need those amino acids for enzymes, for hormones, for antibodies, T cells. You're hearing that a lot lately. And also it's actually has what they call a protein digestibility score. Because if you take protein, if it doesn't get into your body, it's toxic, right? So this is actually proven. It's very highly absorbed. 18 grams of protein per serving, has the branched chain amino acids to protect our muscles, fiber, controls your blood sugar, and it has everything that you need in a really super healthy, complete meal. And what's good is there's no artificial anything. That's a picture of two of my granddaughters when they were little, and you can see right from when they can take a sippy cup, they were taking that shake in the morning. And I'm so comfortable that it doesn't have those warnings on the label or artificial colors or flavors or anything like that. And it also keeps your blood sugar in the zone, which is so, so important. Because remember, we talked about the relationship between weight loss and diabetes. Well, if your blood sugar is on that roller coaster, you're going to store fat all day. You want to burn fat. So, so important for energy too. And so what's the advantages of the Neolife Shake? Well, if you do want to shrink, it helps you do that. I know it helps with belly fat because a lot of people, especially as they get older, they start to store the fat in the belly. And if you've been struggling with your weight, it's a great solution. And the nice thing about it is it's a weight program for life. It's not a diet. Diets don't work. If you need to lose a lot of weight, you can replace 2 of the meals with the Neolife Shake. Or if you just need a little bit, you can actually do one shake, do our breakfast solution, and do a healthy lunch. But you can see we give you a list of healthy snacks with protein, carb, and good fat combinations. We call it our mini meal list. And you get support along the way. So it's an easy program. You can do it with your family, because it's a healthy way for kids to eat as well. So I know we pick up my granddaughter from swimming, we bring cheese and apple, right? Because protein and carb. And it's clinically proven for weight loss, body fat reduction up to 10%, protects your heart, reduces LDL. Like you wouldn't think that a protein shake could actually be good for your heart, but it is. And so let's talk a little bit about it being overweight and heart disease. We kind of call that the heart attack gut. When you see those guys with the big belly, it is definitely a risk factor. But why does this happen? Well, if you look a little bit about the portion size, look at a donut 20 years ago. It was only like 140 calories and 3 inches. Now it's double that, if not more, right? And French fries, even if you do want to have a sometimes food, if you have a smaller portion, it's not as toxic, right? Where now everything is big. So, you have to look at the size of the portions on your plates too. And there's nothing wrong with having a treat once in a while, but it's better if it's a smaller size treat, not a great big giant treat, right? So what's the impact between being overweight and obese? Well, their body weight is directly associated with increased heart risk factors and many other risk factors as well. When your BMI, your body mass index, increases, so do blood pressure, your LDL increases, the bad cholesterol, triglycerides, blood sugar, and you get more inflammation in the body. And inflammation is crucial for heart disease. And these changes relate into increased risk for coronary heart disease, stroke, and cardiovascular disease. But the good news is, even if you reduce your weight 5 to 10%, it can lower your blood pressure, it can lower your LDL, cholesterol, your triglycerides, reduce your inflammation and other cardiovascular risk factors. So that's huge. Like, if you just make a small change. This is one of my customers. This is Gabby. Her husband actually passed away from complications from diabetes, and she decided that she wanted to take charge of her health. She had 3 young children. The youngest was like 4 months at the time, and she actually lost 34 pounds. And you can see she looks great now. But what the great thing is, this is actually probably 6 years ago now. She's kept it off, and this is what you want to do. You want to get you want to have a lifestyle change that you can sustain and follow. And this is Carlos. When we met Carlos, he lost 251 pounds. He was on so much medication for heart, for diabetes, and his family was concerned. They were really, really concerned because his health was so bad. And he got on the program, and in 26 months, he dropped 5 shirt sizes. And as you can see now, he's active. He can play with his kids. He's enjoying life. And when I met him, I said, Carlos, losing so much weight, a lot of people have to have surgery because, you've lost. And he said, I lost the fat, but I didn't lose the muscle. And that's because this shake is biologically complete. You will not lose your muscle. So let's talk a little bit specifically about some of the products that help with heart health. Well, CoQ10 is, I know Wen mentioned that, it is super key in heart health. It If your CoQ10 is low, it reduces muscle function, energy, and it can increase disease risk. And as you can see, heart disease is one of the big ones on that list. And it supports heart health and cellular energy, as you can see, because it works in. And why are we low in CoQ10? One of the biggest causes is medications can cause further loss. And one of the big medications is a heart medication, the statins that Wen was referring to. So what happens is when you take a statin, or those are the cholesterol lowering drugs, right? It actually interferes with the pathway. So because it wants to stop the cholesterol, but it also stops your body from producing CoQ10. And remember, what do we need CoQ10 for? For our muscles. And what's our biggest muscle in the body? Our heart. So you think about it, if you are stopping the support of the heart, you're actually increasing your chance of heart disease. So if you are on a statin, so important to be taking CoQ10. And also, as we get older, look at the difference from when we're 20 years old to when we're 80 years old, we produce so much less CoQ10 in the body. Our levels decline dramatically if we don't supplement. And then depends what we eat in our diet. Not saying that you necessarily have to eat this stuff to have low CoQ10, but it's missing from a lot of our foods now as well. And so the Neolife, we've been asked for CoQ10 for so long. We're saying, please, and not till we can find a whole food source CoQ10. So a few years ago, they actually introduced the Neolife CoQ10, which is naturally sourced. And what makes it really unique, it has a mitogenic, so it's got some of those phytolipids. You know what I was talking about for the grain oils? And sterile blend right in this product. And also it has polyphenols. You're hearing that a lot. That's from the vibrant fruits and vegetables, very powerful antioxidant for the heart. And it has L-cysteine, which helps with that glutathione production, very important. And it's so absorbable. It's actually been tested that it gets into the body. And that's the key. Because a lot of people show me products, oh, it looks great. But when you actually look at the label, and you can't see any difference, but they're not getting results from it because they're not absorbing it. And Nada's friend, I wish he could share this, but Dean has a wonderful story on CoQ10. And he says, I've been taking CoQ10 for a few years for a heart condition he was diagnosed with 13 years ago by a cardiologist in Toronto. The condition is a really long name, tachycardia, but the medication was given, had side effects that were not nice. I felt like I was having a heart attack all the time. So he stopped the medication under the guidance of a naturopath and started taking CoQ10 twice a day along with curcumin for inflammation. Okay, so you could also use Samonol instead. So it worked better than the pharmaceutical drug as a rapid increase in pulse rate disappeared with no side effects, but he still wasn't 100%. Well, when he heard Neolife's CoQ10, as soon as it was launched, he tried 2 bottles for 2 months and he replaced the same 100 milligram twice a day dose that he was taking in conjunction with the curcumin, and it worked even better. He had no palpitations, no more rapid pulse rates at all. And so he's been using these products exclusively ever since then. And I know when you talk to him, he says he can't believe how wonderful he feels. And so what the Neolife CoQ10 solution does, it brings you back up to that 100% level because you want to be like you are in your 20s, right? So this is the product because, you know, you definitely need the CoQ10 for good heart health. And remember I talked a little bit about homocysteine earlier. That's a test you can ask your doctor. Well, what it is, it's a metabolic byproduct and it damages the arteries. And it's actually linked to a nutritional deficiency. And I won't go into all the pathway there, but it's a big complex thing. So 60% of people who die from heart disease have risk factors, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, obesity. But did you know that 40% of them don't have any of those risk factors? And it's interesting because my dad was not overweight. He didn't have high cholesterol. He didn't have high blood pressure, but he ended up with heart disease. And so I have a feeling that probably he was one of the people that had the high homocysteine levels. So it's a better marker, they say, for heart disease than even cholesterol. And it's a consistent risk factor for heart disease, and it's linked with dietary deficiencies of certain nutrients. And so this is why Neolife, one of the nutrients that it is linked to is B6, B12, and folic acid. If you don't have those 3 B vitamins in proper balance in the body, then your body will start producing this homocysteine. Sorry, my video is acting up now. And it also has lipotropic factors like choline and inositol. And what they do, it helps to keep the lipids emulsified in the bloodstream. It's wonderful for circulation. They know even people with Raynaud's disease where you get, pulled hands and feet, because that's circulation, right? The lipo gets everything working properly. And it also helps lower that homocysteine level. And the Neolife difference, it for support of healthy heart and circulatory is the whole food lipotropic factors, improve vitamin B12 absorption because they add some betaine hydrochloric acid, and also has some bioflavonoids, which supports your vascular health, because flavonoids support the blood vessels. The walls I talked about with that damage, they help protect it. So it's an amazing product. And fiber is good too, because low fat, high fiber diet, if you even for colon health as well, they say we should be having 25 to 35 grams of fiber a day. Most people don't even get half of that, right? And it helps retain healthy cholesterol levels. So important. And what makes it different, it's not just, most of the time you get like one source of fiber, it's just usually psyllium, like bran fiber. This has all the different cellulose, hemicellulose, gum, lignans, and pectin from 12 natural sources, has 7 to 8 grams of fiber per serving. It's all natural, and it's great. You can bake with it. I put it in my shakes, muffins. You can sprinkle it on scrambled eggs. You can get it in your food so easy, and it really makes a huge difference. And it also, like we talked about, promotes gastrointestinal health, regularity, regulates blood sugar, and it actually makes you feel fuller, so you don't eat as much. So it helps with weight control as well. And the garlic allium complex helps with hypertension. I know I've had quite a few clients who, been having some issues like with mild blood pressure, and they start taking the garlic, and they say it's amazing that it seems to balance it. And the reason this happens is because stress causes the adrenal gland to go into fight or flight. You hear that, right? But what happens is it starts pumping more, and it starts squeezing the kidneys. Well, when it does that, it shoots up the blood pressure at 80 points in even 15 minutes, right? The blood vessels in the brain can rupture, and there's no medication to stop the kidney from doing this surge, right? But research shows that garlic has the ability to send a signal through the bloodstream to the kidneys in less than 17 minutes. It causes the kidneys to relax, causing hypertension and high blood pressure surges to make a major drop. I mean, how many people out there are stressed all the time? Like, it's one of the, with their work, with their kids, with their families, all sorts of issues, right? So important. So the Neolife garlic is really, really different too. So it increases intake of cardioprotective food factors. And as I mentioned, it's been shown to promote healthy blood pressure and cholesterol as well. So it's not just garlic, it's garlic, allium, chives, and leeks. And of course, the causes of hypertension, as we talked about, stress, enzyme imbalances, sodium metabolism, nutritional deficiencies, and atherosclerosis. And some of the symptoms can be, some people get swishing sounds in their ears, heat on the back of their neck, or headaches. And vitamin E, it's really, really important because it keeps the blood flowing. I know there's a lot of research showing the benefit it has for cardiovascular disease as far as stroke, hemorrhage, varicose veins, phlebitis, and angina. It helps blood flow. So it controls the consistency of the blood, prevents blood clots, dilates the capillaries to make our blood flow better, and it does thin the blood. So it is something, if you're going for surgery, you do not take vitamin E right before surgery, but any other time it's safe. And do we get enough in our food? Well, the recommended daily allowance is 30, which they say is way too low. The optimum daily levels are like 100 to 400. But let's say you even want to try and eat 30. Look at how much food you'd have to eat. You'd have to eat 2.5 pounds of spinach, 8.5 pounds of broccoli, 2.25 pounds of brown rice, 10 pounds of bacon, 8 pounds of peas, or 124 slices of whole wheat bread. So it's not in our food anymore. It's really, really difficult to get. And that's only to get 30. And magnesium, another very, very important nutrient for neurological, muscular, cardiovascular. When you see a lot of people with the arrhythmia, that irregular heartbeat, that sometimes can be magnesium deficiency. So where do we find magnesium? In dark leafy greens, nuts, whole grains, fish, legumes, and fruits. Well, why don't we get enough anymore in our diet? There's so much research and books being written on this now, because magnesium in the diet is decreasing, partially to poor food choices, but even what they're doing to our foods, there's just not enough. The absorption is declining, what they call the bioavailability. Most of the food-based magnesium isn't absorbed anymore because a lot of our lifestyle factors interfere with this. And the levels of magnesium are decreasing because of the way our crops are grown. Our soils are so depleted now. So Neolife brought out our amazing magnesium complex with TriMag and PhytoMag. And it's all, it's certified kosher, but it's all plant-based, which is really, really nice. As you can see, a lot of those vegetables in there too. And so it's got multiple forms. So it's got the magnesium double amino acid chelate. So what that means, that's the bisglycinate. They actually put 2 amino acids on the magnesium so it's absorbed better. And there's also organically bound magnesium citrate, and there's natural earth-form magnesium oxide. So it's got 3 different forms. So the study shows it's absorbed super well in the body. And then aloe for that stress connection, right? So there's so many studies out there showing that it, like it helps with inflammation, which I mentioned is one of the key factors in causing heart disease, and also helps support normal blood sugar as well. And it's a healer, right? It just heals from the minute it goes in and reduces the stress. And you can see all the benefits of all the different components, because there's ginseng, potassium, magnesium, which potassium, magnesium are electrolytes, vitamin C, passion flower, chamomile, and the aloe. So it has so many benefits, this product. Like it's just, you just feel so calm, and it helps you sleep at night. And then another big factor that we have is the nitric oxide. It's one of the most important molecules in human health. And as you can see, one of the big systems it supports is the cardiovascular system, the heart. And low nitric oxide is connected to chronic disease, right? And as you can see, hypertension, all the circulatory things are all linked to nitric oxide, and so many other things too. So now we'll see if we can hear Dr. Beck.
Hi, I'm Dr. Susan Beck, Chief Science Officer and SAB member for Neolife. I'm going to give you a 5-minute overview on one of the most powerful products in the marketplace. Our bodies naturally produce nitric oxide, which is a molecule that's foundational to the proper functioning of almost all systems in our body. Nitric oxide is critical for heart health, for immune health, and for the proper functioning of our nervous system. It's essential for respiratory health and reproductive health. More specifically, nitric oxide relaxes blood vessels, which increases blood flow. It has antioxidant and anti-inflammatory effects. It has antiviral and antibacterial effects. It's vital for muscle force, power, and strength. It's an important factor in cognitive function, including learning and memory. It's also critically important for healthy aging. Nitric oxide is so important that some scientists refer to it as the miracle molecule. As I mentioned earlier, our bodies naturally produce nitric oxide. But here's the thing, our ability to produce nitric oxide decreases significantly with age. It decreases anywhere from 50 to 85% as we get older, or about a 10% loss per decade of life. If we have low levels of this miracle molecule, then our health suffers. Low levels of nitric oxide have been associated with a wide variety of diseases, including hypertension, atherosclerosis, erectile dysfunction, depression and anxiety, obesity, macular degeneration, type 2 diabetes, and Alzheimer's disease. So if we can't rely on our bodies to make a consistent supply of nitric oxide as we age, then how do we increase nitric oxide? It turns out that green leafy vegetables and beets are the biggest and most important sources of something called dietary nitrates. Our bodies convert dietary nitrates from vegetables into nitric oxide through the digestive process. Digestion begins in the mouth with friendly bacteria, which start the process of converting dietary nitrates into nitric oxide. About 75% of dietary nitrates are absorbed in the gut, and the remaining 25% are taken up from the blood and stored in the salivary glands. So the healthy bacteria in our mouths play a critical role in the absorption and storage of nitric oxide. In a recent study of over 50,000 people, scientists found that consuming at least 60 milligrams a day of dietary nitrates leads to reduced risk of different types of cardiovascular diseases, including ischemic heart disease, heart failure, stroke, and peripheral artery disease. Now, the USDA and World Health Organization both recommend that we should eat 5 servings of fruits and vegetables a day. But almost 100 studies from around the world have shown that we actually need 10 servings of fruits and vegetables per day to stay healthy. Studies consistently show that most of us are not getting 5 servings of fruits and vegetables a day, let alone 10. So the bottom line is that people are not eating enough green leafy vegetables and beets that they need to replenish their bodily stores of nitric oxide. So with all of this in mind, the SAB and product team created a powerful product that boosts nitric oxide. Up-Beet is a great tasting drink mix in stick packs. It provides 70 milligrams of dietary nitrates per serving. It contains a nitric oxide activation blend, which is made up of beets, kale, and Joseph's coat. Joseph's coat is a vegetable that's so colorful it reminded people of the coat of many colors in the Bible, and that's why they named it Joseph's coat. Joseph's coat is also known as red spinach. It's not a true red spinach, but they look very similar, so that's why people refer to it as red spinach. All 3 of these vegetables have been studied for their ability to increase nitric oxide in the body by providing substantial amounts of dietary nitrates. Up-Beet also contains our clinically studied nitric oxide fitness blend, which is made up of moringa leaves, pomegranate peel, and black ginger root. The combination of the activation blend and the clinically studied fitness blend means that Up-Beet boosts nitric oxide levels and supports cardiovascular health. Plus, our fitness blend was found in clinical trials to increase stamina and endurance and improve energy and fitness. Up-Beet is GMO-free, stimulant-free, plant-based with no added sugar, only 10 calories, it's vegan. It's an easy, convenient delivery system. Just 1 stick pack a day mixed in water or juice or your Neolife shake is all you need to feel the benefits. Up-Beet is the only natural beet-based product that works via 2 different pathways to increase nitric oxide production. The first pathway is through the 70 milligrams of dietary nitrates. These dietary nitrates are converted to nitric oxide. The second pathway is through the fitness blend because it kickstarts the body's own natural ability to produce nitric oxide. The clinically studied fitness blend is fast-acting. 1 dose of Up-Beet increases nitrate levels in the blood by 336% in just 1 hour. Plus, this increase in nitric oxide remains elevated for up to 12 hours. Think about it. 1 dose of Up-Beet works within 1 hour, and the effects will last all day. Also, be prepared for Up-Beet to help you work out longer and harder. A clinical trial showed an 18% increase in the group taking the fitness blend compared to the placebo group. This means that the group treated with the fitness blend were able to work out longer without getting tired. We've heard lots of stories from people taking Up-Beet who say it helps them bicycle longer or run longer or even adjust to altitude better when hiking or flying in a plane. One important note is that dietary nitrates are converted to nitric oxide starting in the mouth with friendly bacteria. Up-Beet's drink mix delivery system ensures that the dietary nitrates in Up-Beet will be converted to nitric oxide, unlike dietary nitrates in pill form. If we take dietary nitrates in pill form, then it bypasses the critical first step with our oral bacteria, which is necessary for nitric oxide conversion, absorption, and storage for later use. One caution, antibacterial mouthwash kills off these friendly bacteria, so please make sure you don't use antibacterial mouthwash because this will inhibit your ability to convert dietary nitrates into nitric oxide from the vegetables that you eat. So to summarize, Neolife's Up-Beet is for stamina, endurance, and circulation. It's the only natural beet-based product to work via 2 pathways to increase nitric oxide production. It supports cardiovascular health, reduces fatigue, and increases stamina, improves physical performance, supports a healthy inflammatory response, promotes a healthy immune response, acts as an antioxidant, and supports cognitive function. When you're educating other people on the benefits of Up-Beet, you can explain to them these 4 important points. First, the activation blend provides 70 milligrams of dietary nitrates, which are converted to nitric oxide. Second, the fitness blend jumpstarts the body's production of nitric oxide. Third, the fitness blend makes the nitric oxide the body produces more bioavailable. And fourth, there's clinical evidence showing that we will feel the benefits of Upbeat's fitness blend within an hour, and the effects last for up to 12 hours. Thank you for listening today, and I hope you all enjoy the great benefits of Upbeat.
Isn't that a great explanation that Dr. Beck does? And when you look at the Neolife solution for what we can do for our heart health, of course, the foundation is always the Pro Vitality and Neolife Shake, because that just gets to the core and gets to our bodies in balance. And then if you want to add a couple key factors, the Upbeat, Saminol, and CoQ10 are great to add to enhance your heart health. If you do have, hypertension or some other issues, obviously the garlic, the carotenoids, the lipo, the E, magnesium, and aloe are all good, but you don't have to take all these products. Like usually you say, start with the foundation and maybe key in on the first most important ones, see what happens, and you can judge it from there. So, all these products are synergistic, work together. And if you're wondering, well, how do we get started? Neolife has an amazing wellness club. It's free to join, because how many times do we go to Costco? We pay a huge fee to get a discount. Well, there's no charge at all. And if you just order, you automatically get a 10% discount. But if you put it on monthly order, which we call NeoShip, you can double your savings and get a 20% discount. And the nice thing about it is you have total control of it, and it's so convenient to get, your products delivered monthly to you. But again, if you need to pause it, you can do that. Absolutely. But if you do it 6 months in a row, you get all your shipping dollars back in free product points. They call loyalty points that you can purchase from a list of products. And we also have a great referral program where if you refer 3 friends, because I know when I got started, I got so excited with the results of my son with his respiratory issues and myself with my migraines. And I just started sharing that story and introducing people. And by doing that, you can actually get your health packs for free, which is so amazing. And we also have fitness and weight loss challenges to support it as well in our Proven 33 program, which we're running right now. So the breakfast pack is a great way to start our day. This is the different health packs we have. The Vitality Pack or the breakfast pack, which is our biggest seller, and our Shape Up pack, which is actually great because, it's great to do the shake in the morning and after you work out, a second shake, or if you're doing it at lunchtime. And we have our Proven 33 program, which is a 33-day program where you get virtual health coaching. So you get texts every single day with advice from doctors and health professionals. You get some support things. You get trackers. You get fitness and meal planning guidance and exclusive content. And people are getting such good results. You start off with our detox. You ease into the Shape Up pack. And I know one of my clients, her and her husband, she lost 8 pounds. He's lost more than that. They're feeling wonderful from the program. And if you want to, see some other people who are having fantastic results, we have a wonderful Facebook group called the Neolife Healthy Living Community that has thousands. I think there's like 10,000 members now. And you can go on there and read all sorts of stories of people who have benefited from these products. And one more option, if you or someone you know enjoys helping others, like myself, I just loved sharing my story, you can actually earn some extra income. So if that's something that's interest of you, ask the person who invited you, because I know right now the way inflation is and people are looking for, a sort of a little side gig where they can get some extra money. And this is such a rewarding, fun way. You get a community, there's so much support. And, people will thank you for introducing them. But tonight, if you just want to enjoy these wonderful products at a discount, then you know what, you can get started there. Or if you want to earn a part-time or even a full-time income, or if you just want to get more information, ask the person who invited you and they'll be happy to help you out tonight. So we're going to turn off the recording and we're going to open it up for questions. So if you guys have any questions, we'll be happy to answer them all. And thank you so much for coming on tonight. And I hope you found the information helpful.